Hey guys, welcome to Skyline Motions, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to create this really cool looking photo slideshow animation which is actually looks like a brush stroke. So let's see how to create this in DaVinci Resolve 15. Alright, so first of all we have to take a new project, so click on this new project and let's call it Slideshow and click on create. And now click on this setting button and set the size 1920 by 1080 and set this timeline frame rate 30 fps and set this playback frame rate 30 fps and click on save. And now we have to import our image or video file that we want to use in this project. So go to your folder and select your image or video file. So I'm selecting this one and I have downloaded this from pixabay.com and link given in the description. So go to the link and download this image and then drag this image to the media pool and click over here and let's rename it to image and hit enter. And then drag this image to the timeline and let's fit this image. So select this and go to this inspector tab and here is zoom. So set this zoom value maybe like 1.2 and hit enter. And now let's convert this image into a fusion clip. So right click over here and click on this new fusion clip and then go to your fusion tab and here we get this node. So right click over here and go to arrange tool and check this box to turn on the grid snap and select these both node and place it over here. And now let's create brush stroke animation that we will be using as an alpha matte. So go to your folder and import these brushes. Let me tell you guys, I have given a link in the description for these brushes. So go to the link and download these brushes and then import it on your flow window. So as you can see, we have three different brushes. And now let's animate this. So take a rectangle mask and attach this rectangle mask with this brush 1 and drag this to the viewer and let's set this rectangle mask something like that. And now we have to animate this rectangle mask. So go to around 20 frame and select this rectangle and go to this inspector tab and here is center. So click on this diamond button and add a keyframe on center and then go to very beginning of this animation and set this rectangle mask something like that. And now let's add mask feather over here. So set this soft edge maybe like 0.05 and hit enter. And then let's smooth this animation. So go to spline window, check this rectangle 1, click on this fit button and select this keyframe and click on this smooth button. And now we have a smooth animation and then close this spline window. And now let's create a duplicate of this animated rectangle mask. So select this, hit Ctrl C to copy and paste it over here by pressing Ctrl V. And let's attach this rectangle with this brush 2 and drag it to the viewer. So now we get same animation for this brush and let's make one more copy. So hit Ctrl V to paste another copy and connect this with brush 3 and drag it to the viewer. And we have another animated brush, something like that. And now let's add transform node. So click on this button and add a transform node and connect the output of this brush with this transform and drag this transform to the viewer. So now we are able to adjust the size of this brush, rotation and position. So let's add another transform for this second brush. So select this and click on this transform button and select the last one and click on this transform button to add a transform. Okay. And now let's merge these three brushes. So connect the output of this transform 1 with this and drag it to the viewer and connect the output of this merge with this and drag it to the viewer. And now let's set these brushes. So select this transform one and let's scale it up a bit and set this rotation, place it over here. And now select this transform 2 and drag it down and let's rotate it by 180 degree and set it something like that. And now select this transform 3 and drag it over here and set this rotation and this position also. And let's increase the size a bit. Okay, now select this transform 2 and set it something like that. All right, now let's make one more copy. So select these 3 node and hit Ctrl C to copy and paste it over here by pressing Ctrl V. And now let's merge it. So connect the output of this transform with this and drag this to the viewer and select this transform and let's rotate it like that and let's set the size a bit and set it over here. So as you can see, all these brushes revealing at same time. So let's create a gap of 5 frames between each brushes. So go to your spline window and click on this 3 dot and select one tool. So now we are able to check only one tool at a time. So select this rectangle 1 and click on this fit button and it start from 0 to 20. So check this second rectangle and click on this fit button and select all these keyframe and move it on frame number 5. So select this and drag it over here. So now it start from frame number 5 to 25 and check this third one, click on this fit button, select this keyframe and move it on frame number 10. Basically create a time gap of 5 frame. So drag it on frame number 10. So now check this last rectangle and click on this fit button, select this keyframe and now move this keyframe on frame number 15. So select this and drag it over here. So it's done and close this spline window. Okay, now let's create a group of these nodes. So select these and hit Ctrl Z to create a group and drag it to the viewer. Let me tell you guys, if you have very high configuration computer, then you can use this group 1 directly as an alpha mat. But in this case, I don't have very high configuration computer. So I'm gonna render this out as a video format. So let's deattach this media in and out and drag this media out over here and connect the output of this group 1 with this media out 1 and drag it to the viewer and then go to your edit tab and here we have our brush stroke animation and then go to your deliver page and let's select a location. So click on this browse button and select a location. So I'm selecting desktop alpha folder and let's call it alpha mat and click on save and set this format mp4 and set this codec h.264 and other setting leave it as it is and click on add to render queue and click on start render. Okay, so it's done and go to your Fusion tab and let's import that alpha mat video file. So go to your folder and select your alpha mat and drag it to the flow window and let's enable double viewer and drag this to the viewer and let's call it mat and hit enter. So as you can see, it has black background. So let's remove it. So select this and hit Ctrl plus a space bar for search box and search for Luma Keyer. Select this Luma Keyer and click on add. Select these both node, drag it over here and drag this Luma Keyer to the viewer. So as you can see, group 1 and this alpha matte both are exactly same, but group 1 is pretty heavy. So just delete this and drag this media out over here. And now let's start building our main design. So drag this Luma here in second viewer and click on this single viewer. So drag this media in over here, which is actually an image. So let's add a scale animation with this. So select this and add a transform and drag this transform to the viewer and go to the end of this animation and click on this diamond button to add a keyframe on size, and go to very beginning of this animation and set the size maybe around 1.1 and hit enter. And now let's take a color corrector node. So click on this button and add a color corrector node. Place it over here and connect the output of this transform 1 with this color corrector and drag this color corrector to the viewer and go to your inspector tab, and here is saturation. So set this saturation value 0 and make it pure black and white. And now let's add one more tool. So select this, hit Ctrl plus a space bar for search box and search for directional blur, and select this directional blur, hit add and drag this directional blur to the viewer, and let's add some blur length value. So set this length value 0.01 and hit enter. Drag this media out over here. And now let's take a text node. So click on this text button and add a text node and drag this text to the viewer and type anything, whatever you want to type. So I'm typing DaVinci Resolve 15 tutorial, and you can choose any type of font style, but I'm using Century Gothic. Okay, and then right click on this and click on character label styling and go to your modifier option and double click on that and select this text tutorial and set the size maybe like that, and select these DaVinci Resolve 15 and set this bold to regular, and let's down the size a bit. Okay, and select all these text and click on this transform tab and select these lines and set the line spacing maybe like that. Okay, and let's attach a transform node with this text one. So just select this and click on this transform button to add a transform node and drag this transform to the viewer. And now you can adjust the size, rotation and position of this text with this transform. So now let's merge it. So place it over here and take a merge node. So click on this merge button and connect this yellow point to the output of this transform node and green point with this transform 2, and drag this merge 1 to the viewer. And now set the size and position of this text. So select this transform 2 and let's down the size a bit and set it over here. Okay, so as you can see, we have two output here. So the first one is color image with text, and the second one is blurry and black and white image. Okay, so select these both alpha matte node, placed it over here, and let's merge it. So take a merge node and drag this media out over here and connect this yellow point with this Luma Kia and green point with this directional blur and drag it to the viewer and select this merge to and go to this inspector tab and here is operator. So change this over to in. So now it's looking something like that. Okay, and now let's create a duplicate of these alpha matte. So select these both node, hit Ctrl C to copy and paste it over here by pressing Ctrl V. And now drag this Luma here to the viewer and let's add a transform with this. So select this and click on this transform button to add a transform, drag it to the viewer and let's rotate it by 180 degree. So put the value maybe like 180 and hit enter, and then take a merge node and connect this yellow background point with this transform 3 and green foreground point with this merge 1, and drag this merge 3 to the viewer and select this merge 3 and go to this inspector tab and here is operator. So change this over to in. So now we have brush stroke animation, something like that. Okay, and let's increase the size of this. So click on this double viewer and drag this merge 2 in this viewer and drag this merge 3 in this viewer. So as you can see, we have two outputs here and both are revealing at same time. So let's create a time gap of 30 frame which is equal to 1 second. So go to your keyframe tab and set this CTI on frame number 30 over here and drag this mat_1. So here is mat_1. So drag this on frame number 30 and now close this keyframe, and now let's merge these both outputs. So take a merge node and connect this yellow background point with this merge 2 and green foreground point with this merge 3 and drag this merge 4 to the viewer and click on this single viewer, and now it's looking something like that. Okay, now we have to create a background. So take a background node and drag it to the viewer and let's create a gradient background. So go to this inspector tab and change this solid color to gradient, and let's pick this color maybe like purple and pick this color maybe like sky blue and set this gradient something like that. All right, and now place it over here and take a merge node and connect this yellow background point with this background and connect this green foreground point to the output of this transform 1 and drag this merge 5 to the viewer and select this merge 5 and set this blend value. So now we get this type of output here. So set this blend value maybe like 0.1 and hit enter. So now we have something like that, and select this both node, place it over here and increase the size of this flow window. And now let's take a final merge. So click on this merge button and connect this yellow background point with this merge 5 and connect this green foreground point with this merge 4. So now it's looking something like that. Now let's take a final transform node. So click on this transform button to add a transform node and connect the output of this merge 6 with this and drag this transform to the viewer, and let's add a scale animation with this. So go to the end of this animation and click on this diamond button to add a keyframe on size, and click on this diamond button here to add a keyframe on angle also, and then go to very beginning of this animation and set the size 1.1 and hit enter, and let's set the angle maybe around 3 degree and hit enter, and it's almost done. So click on this fit button and as you can see it's looking something like that. And now finally connect the media out with this final output. So connect the output of this transform with this media out and go to your edit tab, and here we have our photo slideshow. So let's take a look. Alright, so it's looking awesome, and that's all for this tutorial guys. I hope you like it. So I will see you in next tutorial. Till then, bye bye.